Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast. I got a double guest list today, and it is because I was at a show in Reno, Nevada, and I called the Northern Nevada Ghost Hunters, and they came to a show. We literally had 30 minutes between to tape their interview, and they are going to be talking about a para, they're calling it a para retreat. I call it a Paracon. They're calling it a para-retreat. They're going to be talking about it. It's at the Biltmore in Lake Tahoe. And since the time that I did the interview, they had a fallout, so I will be at this. And you want to go to Laughing Devil, but devil is spelled with two E's, D-E-V-E-L, laughingdevil.com. And it's September, I think it's 7th through the 9th. It's with John Zaffis and Dave Schrader, and very exciting. So you'll hear them. But before I got a treat. I got a treat for you folks. All of you loved the occult collector, Calvin Von Crush, and I said, hey, you know, I got a little time in the beginning. I'd love to chat with you for like 15, 20 minutes. And then I was thinking, you know, this could be, did I lose you there?
No, I'm here, Karen.
Okay. And I said, this would be I think we should have little Calvin spots throughout. Every once in a while we have Calvin pop in and tell us what he's up to, because he's always up to something interesting. And Calvin, thanks for coming on. Isn't the new equipment better?
Oh, yeah, Karen, I think this is much smoother. Like, there's no staggered delay. I feel like I'm talking to a real human, not a robot, so this is good.
Yeah, I finally, folks, $42, all my sound issues may be gone. How about that? So you have, I love this event coming up, or it's from you're with the Talking Board Historical Society, and you're doing something for Helen Peters Noseworthy. What's happening there?
All right, so Helen's actually a very, very important figure in occult and paranormal history, specifically for the Ouija board. That word itself, Ouija, is the product of Helen. So the story was present when the Ouija board was first being used, and they asked the board what it would like to be spelled, or recalled rather, and it spelled out Ouija, O-U-I-J-A, and Helen was wearing a locket with the word Ouija on it. Oh. And what it meant, and she said, good luck. So she's the mother of the Ouija board. Now, it goes one step further. Helen's brother-in-law was Elijah Bond. Elijah Bond is the gentleman who owned the first patent. And years ago, before the TBHS was officially the TBHS, a group of collectors got together and put the money forward to put a Ouija board-shaped tombstone on Elijah Bond's grave. So he's credit in this attention for years and years and years. If you guys ever go on Instagram and you see people next to a Ouija board stone, that is our doing.
Where is that?
That's in Baltimore. Oh. And if anybody Googles Baltimore Ouija board headstone, it's going to pop right up. That is a beautiful cemetery, by the way. If you can go there, go in the cherry blossom season, because it's just cherry blossoms blowing in the wind. Also, Johnny Eck of Sideshow history, he was a half man, and he was in Todd Browning's Freaks. He's buried there. And the gentleman who assassinated Abraham Lincoln, John Wilkes Booth, is there. So you got to make sure you go leave a penny heads up on his tombstone just to kind of rub it in that he didn't get away with.
And half man, I think I've met quite a few of those somewhere. So, okay, so you guys...
We have one in the Oval Office right now, Karen.
I know. Kind of. I think you're being generous there. So you guys put that grave up, and so now how does Helen come in? Because Helen, you always felt I know we talked about this before. She didn't really get enough credit here, did she?
You know, I mean, we talk about synchronicity all the time in the paranormal community, and right now, politically, it's a time for celebrating women, especially women who have been brushed aside or forgotten about. I know this is really big in your neck of the woods in L.A. and Hollywood, where writers and directors and stuff are finally getting their credit. So I think it's time we start acknowledging women's contributions to the paranormal community as well. So we raised some money, and we're still raising more. We need everybody's help to put this headstone. It's a beautiful headstone too, Karen. All in all, I think it's going to cost us $6,000 some odd dollars.
Wow.
Because we're having custom made in Baltimore. So the gentleman who made the tombstone shaped like the Ouija board, he's taking this project on too, and we're actually going to ship that stone all the way up to Denver, Colorado. And then Saturday, September 22nd, we're actually going to be installing it. And I think we're going to be doing a small event. It's going to be really, really intimate. Tickets will be for sale for this event. We might do a little bit of a Ouija board museum and a lecture. But ultimately, it's a celebration. This isn't like coming down and taking out your notebook and taking notes. We actually want to celebrate this woman's achievement and celebrate that she's finally going to have this acknowledgement and people from around the world can come see it.
Great. And I know that everything started with the talking board, right?
Right. So, yeah, witch board, talking board, all that. So when Helen was involved in the naming, they asked if she wanted to go down to the patent office, too, because she was believed to be a strong medium. So they went down to Washington, D.C., her and her brother-in-law, and the head patent officer was refusing to give a patent for the Ouija board. He believed that it did not work. It wasn't suitable to get the patent for a game, and he insisted that if they could show him that it worked, he would write the patent on the spot. And because she was a medium, she sat down and used the board and was able to tell him things that only someone very close to him would know that she never would have known. And it convinced him, and it secured the patent, and the rest is literally history.
You know, that's interesting because I'm with AAA, and they wouldn't give me business insurance. I had to go elsewhere because they didn't believe tarot reading was a business.
Well, you know, I mean, I guess anybody who takes money for something is a business.
It seems like the IRS thinks it's a business. The IRS is convinced it's a business.
Oh, yeah, they want their cut of it, right?
Oh yeah, you can't get away with that. So, but that's interesting. So, so she was a medium, and so the tied the name together. So you guys are putting up this stone. That's fantastic. How much does a gravestone weigh?
Oh,
like how much would this thing's got to be? How heavy? That's the part. Getting it there. That's where the trouble is, right?
I believe they're sending a 2-man team to help with this thing. You know, so Karen, I want to talk about one of the reasons why she kind of got lost to history. This is actually a very good paranormal story.
Please, go ahead.
I guess there was a situation where her family owned a collection of Civil War buttons. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be just extrapolating info here. I think they actually walked along the fields where soldiers were dead and gathered the buttons off of their coats.
What?
Yeah, so they had a collection of these buttons. This was actually commonplace back then. Anytime there was a tragedy, they used to have train accidents. People would go take pieces of the train, and I've heard of people gathering other relics from battlefields. So they went missing. And what do you do when your family's into spooky shit? You ask the Ouija board where the missing item is. Mm-hmm. And apparently the answer created a huge rift in her family.
Really?
So she wore off the Ouija board and said nothing good could ever come of this, and converted to Jehovah's Witness.
Now, was the rift that the board named somebody in the room?
You know, we don't know. We've only heard this rumor. I think we may have gotten that from, you know, a letter she wrote or something like that, or that could be passed down through the family, the story. A lot of this research was done by Bob Murch, and Bob is the chairman of the Talking Board Historical Society. The man is a bloodhound for information, and he originally, I think, got clued off to her, I want to say in 2006, if not earlier. There were letters written to the Baltimore Sun stating that there was a strong medium who helped secure the patent and everything like that. So he had to keep digging and digging and digging. And Bob, bless his heart, he is gay. He says this is the only woman he's ever chased in his life. So But yeah, I mean, it's very, very exciting. I think it adds a nice feminine touch to a story that's, pretty spooky and scares people. And everyone associates William Fold's name with the board, and Charles Kennard and Elijah Bond. It's nice to get this little dose of femininity amongst the testosterone.
Yeah, I remember when you guys had a Ouija board historical convention, and you were like, yeah, we're going to try and get you there because it's really a big sausage fest. That was exactly how you described it.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I mean, that's a lot of what it is in the paranormal, too. I really have seen more and more female faces stepping up and owning tour groups and heading up groups themselves. So I think it's definitely changing shape. Have you noticed that in your time in the paranormal?
Yes, but you know what else I noticed? Because when I started this, I was like, I'm going to have as many female guests as I am male guests, and it's going to go female, male, female, male. And you know what? Like, I think after a while, I had to go, wow, I got to have some guys on, because it really is. It's why the TV shows, I beg to differ with the TV shows with it's all the guys and the young girls. And I think there's more women in the paranormal than there are men.
Huh, that's interesting.
Especially, I work with a lot of different groups, and every time I go, like these Northern Nevada ghost hunters, I didn't realize it was two women I had met before. I think that it's sort of people are misjudging how many women are in it. They're much more than male. At least, and especially in California, that's for sure.
I got to come out to California, meet some spooky chicks.
You got it. I know that's what you like. I'm keeping my eye out for you. And
yeah, I like dressed in black and looks like she sleeps in a coffin.
Yes, well, that could be anyone in We'll just drop you off at Hollywood Boulevard and see what you find. So that's great. Okay, so September 22nd, you'll keep us up on that, and people can donate if they want to help donate to the building and moving of the gravestone at tbhs.org. That's Talking Board Historical Society.org. Give these guys a little help here. Send them a couple of bucks. Let's see if we can get a very heavy Ouija board gravestone to Colorado. That would be great. And now you, before we run out of time, you have had a new, shall we call it a religious experience?
Yeah. So, as much as I go out and look for the paranormal, sometimes I just trip over it and it finds me.
Yeah.
And I recently started working at a new tattoo shop, and the gentleman who works right next to me, he practices a little bit of an obscure religion called Kimbanda. And Kimbanda is a Afro-Brazilian religion that incorporates ancestor and demon worship. It's really hard for me. I'm still learning a lot about it. I don't want to just, read from a book and give you guys the answers. I'm trying to experience it more. But it's definitely darker imagery and darker practices.
Yes, and and just so people know, we're going to do updates on what's going on with this, because a couple of things are happening. But when you say ancestral and demon, so it's not Satan worship. Are there actually lighter, like angels, mixed in there?
So the Archangel Michael is involved in some of their practice.
Okay,
but don't think of like demons as just creatures with horns. Think of them as darker spirits that kind of have always been here, if that makes sense.
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily follow Christianity, but he does tell me that they do use the Bible for some of their spell work and stuff. The thing with these religions that developed in South America and the islands, a lot of it happened because of the slave trade. And when people are bounced around on boats like that, you're going to take a little bit of, culture from each location. And this really has a little bit of Catholicism in it, where the individual demons kind of act like saints. Right. And I have been told that there is like a corresponding saint. So you could worship the saint, but you were really, out in the public. But your intent was really driven towards the Exu, which is the name of their spirits. So they do a lot of offerings. Now, I don't believe. I'm a skeptic, non-believer, but I do believe in the power of devotion and of self-affirmation. So if you develop a practice, like even something as simple as meditation, you're really going to help enrich your life. And I see how much enrichment it brings my coworker. His name is Gary, by the way. And he spends so much of his time devoted to this. He is. I call people who don't really devote their life to it Barnes & Noble practitioners, where they just pick up a book and they go buy some crystals on Amazon and they build a crystal grid and burn some sage and they think they're fixing their life. That's the easy answer. People like you, Karen, I really respect, because I've said this before, that you talk the talk, you walk the walk. Your life is a waking paranormal experience.
I'm all in.
Yeah, exactly. And he is 110% in. And also, he doesn't hold back when I ask him questions, even though he knows I don't believe. He's very matter of fact. He shares every little bit. In fact, I just went on a filming trip to Rochester this weekend, and he asked me to get him some samples from location I was going. He uses a lot of soil in his root work. So I picked up some dirt samples, and he gave me an offering to put back into the ground. I'm not comfortable giving that information, what he asked me to put in the ground. I don't know if I can share that.
Okay.
But even though I don't believe, because I respect him and care about him as a friend, I did exactly as he wished.
That's very interesting, and I do think the giving something back is the key, because I've talked about this before, how in Hawaii you're not supposed to take the sand, or sometimes in the Middle East you're not supposed to take things from the earth, and Hawaii apparently gets sent back the post office gets boxes and boxes of sand from people that came back and had bad luck. So I find that that's a good trip for him to know there's an exchange. Yeah.
Right, and that's just it too. I know a lot of it is how your belief plays into it, and like I say, even though I don't believe in it myself, I do care about him as a person, and I respect his belief. So it's no different than asking him to pick me up a Coke if he runs out to the gas station in the middle of the day. He asked me to pick up some grave dirt and pay for it with what he would pay with out of his pocket, so I did it.
Yeah, at another time too, I would love for you to we still got a few minutes here, because I just want to talk about the reading he gave you, but I want to dig more into, ask him more about, because I was going to say have him on the podcast, and you said he has a very heavy accent.
He does, yeah. He's a multicultural person himself. He's a little bit of Japanese. He is from San Salvador, and I know some people have a hard time understanding his accent. I don't know if it's going to transfer well to radio. I am going to have him on an episode of my show, The Occult Collector, on the Haunted.Space, and he's going to show me how to build a shrine inside of my house for Santa Muerte. And he's going to talk about the offerings and stuff, and I'm going to keep that down in my museum.
And who is that you're building a thing to?
Santa Muerte, and that is translates to Holy Death. Now, I don't know if he's pulled that from his own religion, from Kimbanda, or from another occult practice. I've seen it in pop culture, often associated with Mexico, especially the drug cartels. So I guess Santa Muerte is who you can make offerings to ensure, safe passage and stuff like that.
That's funny, because what he's talking about to me sounds a little bit like Santeria. It's sort of the same thing. It's not just angels, and it's not just light, and it's some spells and curses and stuff like that. But I'd love to hear I'd love to hear more about, because I'm wondering if when he says demons, it does not mean the same thing we are thinking of.
Right. I don't think they might be fallen angels. I don't know. I don't know if Christ and God and all that plays in the
That's
play.
Such a big word. That's such a big word, because I'm doing a one alone on the jinn, and it's always like, is it a demon or is it something else? And that's such a big word. But he says you have your own angels and demons. So these are ancestors and demons that are for you especially?
Yeah, so I guess you have to do something called a consulta, and that is with somebody who's already initiated and practicing, and they help divide you into your attributes to see which house that you are best suited for. So he has a certain helper spirit and then 2 Exu that like look over him the most. Now, there's actually like demonic possession and everything that happens in this. I've seen some videos. He shared some info with me, and they call it getting mounted. And you can actually get mounted by your helper spirit during rituals. And then the person who's in charge, usually a tata is what they're called, they'll make you confirm certain things to show that there really is a presence inside of you and you're not just bullshitting people.
Well, that that sounds. It's funny how it all runs along the same lines, because they're saying mounted, and I would interpret that as an attachment.
Yeah, it's very similar. Even Catholicism has, that demonic possession and thing too. But so in Kimbanda, it's not a predatory thing where a demon's out to get your soul. This is something that actually helps you get things done. It's almost like you call on this higher power for strength, whether it's in your rituals or whether you need guidance in life.
Okay. Could they get me through the phone tree at Delta? Because it's awful hard to... seems a waste of power, doesn't it? Awesome. Well, you know what? I'm actually going to clip this right here because we're on time. But I want to hear about that, and I want to hear about your reading. I think we're going to we'll be popping in with you soon because you had a reading, and then you're also going to a ceremony with them, aren't you?
Yeah. So if everything goes as planned, there is an initiation ceremony that's going to be happening later in the summer. And I've already said I want to do a consulta with his tata, and I want to participate. I really think it's important for people who don't believe in these things to still get out there and experience it. If anything, it's just going to bring me closer to another human being and really help understand where he comes from. And I see him every day at work. He's a very thin wall away. I hang out with him on the weekends. We just went to a party, and he did some divination there for us. So I thoroughly enjoy his company. I enjoy his presence. I hope to keep him around for very many years to come. And, I mean, this is the life I live. I always say I'm not a sit-on-the-couch skeptic. I want to get out there and see it.
Yep.
If these people are getting possessed, I'm not going to see it knocking on the window. I might as well go through the steps and give my chance the opportunity to be possessed as well.
Well, and I'll be on the phone waiting for you to tell me about that experience because I'm not interested in being possessed at all. That's so interesting. Yeah, that is. We're both all in. It's kind of like I interviewed somebody and he said if a woman doesn't believe in ghosts, I will not date her. And I'm thinking if somebody is just like, I can't even go with it. I couldn't. It's so much of my life. It's all my life. It's same as you.
Yeah.
If someone can't put up with that option of you coming home possessed, they're out.
Yeah.
And
Baby, keep the stage burning. I'm playing with the boys tonight.
Yeah, I'm playing with the devil tonight. All right, I would love to hear more about that, and we're going to revisit you on this journey. Always super interesting to talk to you. So, Calvin, it's the Talking Board Historical Society, TBHS, looking for donations for Helen Peters Noseworthy's gravestone, correct?
Yep.
And now, give everybody a real quick commercial because your show is so great on Haunted, and I always say it wrong. I'm going to let you plug it. It's the Occult Collector on
The Haunted Space, and this is actually a company run by Nick Groff, who I love very dearly from Paranormal Lockdown and Ghost Adventures. And the best way to see a little bit more about me and what I do is Instagram at The Occult Collector. You can see inside of my basement museum. You can get info on individual items. And if I ever do any speaking events or anything like that, I post everything there so you can come out and shake my hand and tell me about your haunted doll you have at home.
And haunted, is it spell haunted space dot? How does that go? It's not a dot, it's spelled out, right?
It's the haunted space. You got to put that little period in there.
Okay, so it's not, I was on a show called comedy.com, and they literally, the dot was DOT, and it was very confusing.
Yeah, so it's through a network called VidiSpace, and we have individual spaces. So we have the documentary space, We've got the music space, and the Haunted Dot space is dedicated entirely to paranormal broadcasting.
And you do a live show there.
Yeah, we actually did 4 episodes live, and that was a lot of fun. It's very, very tedious. You're a stand-up comic. You know you have to be on your toes the whole time.
Yeah.
We just are switching over format to edited and pre-recorded episodes, and we just filmed a ton of stuff this past weekend in Rochester.
Oh, great. I can't wait to see. Okay, and they'll if they go to the Occult Collector on Instagram, they can find everything there, including probably the link to this, correct?
Yeah, and if anybody ever has any questions, I'm pretty friendly. I know I look like I just got out of prison, but drop me an email.
Well, that's true. He is very friendly. You can just be afraid of, if he's got a woman with her, be afraid of her because she sleeps in a coffin. So
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Calvin. So everybody, now we're going to have Calvin check back in with us with more interesting information on that soon. And now we're going to go to my interview from Reno, Nevada with the Northern Nevada Ghost Hunters. Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm my friends are here. Every podcast I do, I start it with, I'm so excited, because I am always excited when I have my guests. And my sister calls me and goes, stop being excited.
You're such an exciting person.
I am an exciting person. And, okay, we all got our mics out. We're good. I am at the Reno Silver Legacy, and my friends from Northern Nevada Ghost Hunters, correct?
That's right.
I contacted you guys, and I didn't know that we knew each other.
Right. We met, I don't know, a bazillion years ago now. That was 4 or 5 years ago?
At
Maybe
the
even
St.
longer.
Mary's Art Center.
St. Mary's Art Center in Virginia City, yeah.
But I loved that I got a text message, and it said, is it okay if we were silly? And I was like, you know who you're talking to. You know who this is. And we were just talking downstairs, and already I'm ready to go. I was looking at your website. Let's start with this. Your website is
nngh.net.
nngh.net.
Correct.
And what was the other thing downstairs? Oh, we were talking about events you have coming up now, and because I think this is going to come out in July or August. What are some events that people know that are coming up for you guys?
Well, we have a huge event in September 7th through 9th is the Haunted Tahoe Biltmore Para Retreat.
What?
Yes, we're co-sponsoring with Devell Productions, Napa Ghosts, Legends and Tours, Ellen and Devin, who are the most amazing people I have ever met in my life.
Oh my God. I bet I'd be excited to meet them too. Huh?
Oh, you would love to meet them.
They would make you laugh so hard.
Oh, yes, they're crazy. They're just absolutely crazy, but they're great business people. They know how to put on a production. So when we were asked by the Biltmore to come up, and they wanted us to book some rooms and just have a little para retreat, well, we thought it was going to be about 50 people. I think it's 250 right now.
Really?
Might be even up to 400 people. We have 70 vendors. It's crazy. We're almost sold out. It is amazing. We have Darkness Dave Schrader.
Oh, Schrader's coming, yeah.
John Zaffis.
John Zaffis,
Wow,
the Haunted Collector.
this is great.
Right. We've got some headliners.
Jeff Mudgett. Have you heard of Jeff Mudgett?
No, but that's the best last name I've ever heard of. I bet no one made fun of him in elementary school.
Tell her.
He is the great-great-grandson of H.H. Holmes, the serial killer from Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Who'd have thought that had turned into a career?
And he's doing good with it.
Wow.
He's
well, that's
interesting.
fascinating. And it's like humor, just enough time has passed that it's okay, right?
What's different about our Paracon is it's not a Paracon. It's a paranormal retreat. It's at a great little location right there next to Lake Tahoe.
I know, and I gotta find. I'm almost I gotta find it. There's an improv out there because I always get to go. I always am in the area. I do comedy in the area because that is such a Tahoe alone is fabulous. I know you guys live pretty close to it, so you're not as fascinated. But I love Tahoe.
We love it. It's spiritual. It's just a beautiful place to go and just go. To go. It's 45 minutes away from Reno. So,
and I never heard of the Biltmore hauntings.
Oh,
It's very haunted.
It's very haunted. There are some places there that, look, I just get goosebumps because I just can't believe how haunted it is. So I'm very excited. It's only going to be there about another 5 or 6 years, then they're going to tear it down for some condominiums. So we have about 5 to 6 years to put on these retreats. I'm pretty excited about it.
That's awesome. And also, you guys, you had something coming up because I was going to look to do Paranormal Karen's here, and you're going to a tunnel? What is it?
We do about every quarter the Haunted Sutro town site, which is in Dayton, Nevada. And it's an old mining community that Adolf Sutro had put up.
Wow.
You know, Sutro Bass, Sutro.
Wait, Sutro's, what's that? Is
The
that
Sutro
a brand?
Bass.
No, what is
No,
that?
it's he was a big famous banker.
Not as good as a serial killer.
Yeah. he was basically an entrepreneur. He made a lot of money back in the silver days, and he had this great idea to build a tunnel from the town of Dayton, which is in the middle of Nevada, middle of nowhere, up to Virginia City.
Wow.
And what it ended up being was a relief of the water that was building up in the mines up in the Silver City, up in Virginia City, to drain down. To this day, it's still draining down.
See, now that's interesting. Is that because of the snow? Or there's
Because
just
of
that
the
much
snow,
water?
there's a lot of thermal.
It's the geothermal, and so the water's really super hot. So it pours up into the mines,
Wow.
and the miners couldn't work, so they had to drain the water. So that's what this tunnel was.
Wow. You know, I have a theory about, so Virginia City is almost like built on a big crystal, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
See, that's why it's so great and haunted and creepy.
Well, we worked for the Comstock Foundation of History and Culture. We were able to team up with them about 2 years ago that's getting into these places like the Sutro tunnels and Donovan Mill. That was the other one that you saw on our site, which we have a dead resident there.
Oh.
This guy is...
Dead, double dead?
He is double dead. He is way dead. We had a psychic medium, David Deerfeeder, come in, and he identified him for us because we couldn't figure out what this void was that we had in there.
Was this the guy from the UK that I watched on your videos?
No, he's from, where is he from, Vallejo or Fairfield or somewhere like that. It's Father David Deerfeeder. And he's a psychic medium, Catholic priest.
What's going on with my dog? Oh, he's a Catholic priest?
Yeah.
And a psychic medium?
And a psychic medium.
You know, that's very
And-
contradictory.
He's married to a man who was a
What?
monk. Yes.
Where is this Catholic church? This is my favorite. I go to this Catholic
I
church.
can't wait for you to meet David Deerfeeder. He is just an angel walking on the
I know
earth.
this
And
was
he's a musician.
Oh, and I know this is odd, but I really do scratch my dog's butt.
I wasn't watching. That was...
And look, the dog's got such a look of serenity. Scratch it, Mom.
He was boot scooting, and I was like, all right, I know he's got a hot spot. And I noticed you were looking, Jill was looking like, are you scratching his butt? Jill and Jay, I didn't even introduce you guys. This is how good my podcast is. People are like, what is she talking about? So we got, well, that's a show in itself, a Catholic priest. I looked up online. Somebody told me, I'm not Catholic at all. Somebody told me I should look up the Catholic saints. So for kicks, I looked up one to see if there was a saint patron saint of mediums and psychics, and there is.
Is there?
And-
Patrick, right?
No, it's it's Agabus, and I ordered a medal of that because
Really?
there was only one on Etsy, and
I will have to ask David about that. That's pretty interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
And he was like Paul's best friend, and Paul would ask him shit, and that's not how it was presented in the Bible.
It should have been. More people would read it.
So your psychic medium Catholic gay friend, if I had $1 for every time I said that. He found out the dead guy?
Yeah, he found the dead guy. We were actually doing a tour, and he came up, and when he asked him, what's back there? Because the way the mill goes, it goes with the stamp mill, then the mercury bath, and then a machine shop in the very back. But that very back was kind of very creepy. So he went back there, and he found this spirit, and I guess the spirit sold his soul.
Oh.
And it's just one of those stories. You'll have to go on our website. Is it on our website, Jill?
It will be.
It will be.
Yes. Well, by the time this comes out, it will be.
Yeah.
He wrote a song about it.
He wrote a song
Really?
about
And
it.
it'll tear your heart out.
Yeah, he's one of those kind of people that when he sings, he just kind of digs deep. But then he'll joke about other things, and he's just amazing. And he's a great ghost hunter.
See, now that's a whole, now I got to do a whole topic on that, selling your soul. If it can happen, or if it does, like, when the guy sold his soul, was there actual conversation? Like, did he have a communication with the person, with the devil, or whoever he sold his soul to?
I believe he did. And,
Wow.
and I believe that David has the whole storyline, and this entity that's at the mill, he touches every single person that goes in there.
Wow.
It's very amazing. Even the skeptics that we've taken in there, because we do public tours, public investigations.
He's like the opening act tonight. He just has to touch everyone.
Exactly.
So is that his purgatory, or he's staying here because he's afraid he has to go to hell because he sold his soul?
I think he's staying here because he doesn't want to go anywhere else.
Wow.
That he doesn't feel that he should go anywhere else.
But so did he feel there was a what's the word, consequence to selling his soul?
I don't think so. I think what he did was he sold his soul because he knew. I guess he was in a mining accident and he lost a limb. Am I
Right.
telling this story right?
Yes.
He lost a limb, and when he lost a limb, he couldn't provide for his family anymore. So he ended up killing himself
Because there was more money in killing himself?
because he didn't want to be a burden on his
Well,
family.
yeah, he felt like he had let his family down.
You know,
And so he wished he was never born, and he wished he could never remember his life.
wow.
And
Not to
so-
get out of silly, but they were, with all the suicides now, there was a doctor was saying that people don't realize it's when people think they're a burden.
Right, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And, you know, in this day and age, you just don't know, especially being a paranormal investigator, you don't know when you're going into a client's house what you're going to come into.
Right.
You have to go in with a light heart and love and light. And that's what my group is love and light.
I love your group already. I love being a burden, though, also. I'm okay with that. Ask anyone that's loaned me money.
Bird. Yeah, be a funny bird.
He's good with that. Oh, my God. And so I asked you if I could go to the tunnel,
Yeah.
and you said I'd be shot.
You would be shot, yes. The caretaker there, it's privately owned. It is privately owned land. And the caretaker there, God bless his soul, this man is just amazing, but he will shoot you dead.
Really?
Unless you're with us.
He sounds like he makes decisions quickly.
Oh, he does. He shoots and then asks later.
Really? Wow.
But it's a whole town site. You've got a man-made pond that was there. You've got a couple barns, workshops. The Comstock Foundation is trying to build all this up. What we're trying to do is raise money to get that tunnel where it's collapsed, so where we could go back up to Virginia City and have it like the olden days where they would take people from Dayton up to Virginia City, which is 6 miles. Can you imagine going in a tunnel for 6 miles underneath the ground?
That might be
No,
scary.
you know, I did that once when I was a kid on the water tunnels that go under the city, and that was enough.
Yeah.
Because it's also one of those things where the scariest thing is that you're going to run into someone that's not supposed to be there. Not a dead person, a live person.
Right.
You know?
Right, absolutely. One of the scariest places that we've been to was up at the Collar Mine up in Virginia City. And we had been investigating with two of our friends from RIP Paranormal out of Oregon. 400 feet in. I'm 6 foot and 200 plus pounds, woman. You know, I had to like bend over 400 feet in, get into this dark place, and I'm thinking, oh my God, something's going to come out and eat me.
Yes.
It was scary.
People think ghosts are scary. It's everything else.
It's
Yes.
everything else.
But you know, I had a friend that went spelunking, and I was like, why would you ever do that?
What is...
So that's where you crawl through the caves.
Oh.
But you crawl through
Oh.
like it's very small. Like there's no reason for that. There's nothing down there you need to see. I know.
That's what I kept thinking as I'm bumping my head and hitting my shoulders. I'm like, there's nothing down here I want to see. I'm a ghost hunter. I don't want to see this.
Did you guys ever go to Gettysburg or those old? And you realize how short people were.
You know what? The house is up in Virginia City, and most of the places that we go in Virginia City, you know how little they are because my size 11 feet will not walk up them stairs.
But we are going on an epic road trip in summer 2019 to all of the big places, and I think Gettysburg's on the list.
Oh,
so we'll
yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
look.
So we're real excited about that.
Oh,
Brian
that's great. Are you
and
going to
Charlie.
the Paracon there or just visiting on your
No,
own?
we're just going to like 7 different haunted places. We're doing a massive road trip with about 3 different teams.
Wow.
So it's going to be kind of fun. Yeah.
And are you guys going to log that online?
Yeah,
Oh, we
we're
will.
going to do lives the whole way.
Oh, wow, that's great.
So it'll be fun. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's fabulous. So you got the tunnel. The tunnel is still spouting water, and then people are going to be able to ride it or walk it or
eventually, probably walk it. I don't know how far in that they'll be able to go.
How far? Didn't you say 6 miles?
It's 6 miles up a canyon.
But part of it's collapsed now, so we have to raise money to shore it up so that it's safe for people to go into.
But people are going to walk 6 miles.
Oh, they do it all the time. They walk up the canyon. There's a place called 6 Mile Road that you can walk from Virginia City down to Dayton, and people do it all the time. It's a beautiful drive.
Yeah,
absolutely
it is
gorgeous.
beautiful. A couple times I've gone up there. In fact, last time Rich and I went there. Do you have to go to the bathroom, Courage? Are you going to bother me in the middle of this? Okay.
He says, "I am your priority."
I'm so glad we're 10 minutes early because he's little heart pills, so he has to have a diuretic. So it's quite a thing.
Oh, I bet.
So we're up in the middle of the night quite often. Look at him. Oh, he's drinking water. That's the worst podcast ever. We just listen to her dog drink water. But this is what people love, though. I think that is the history.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I got into the paranormal
Yeah.
was the history, and that's the difference between our group and a lot of groups. We're trying to preserve history.
Yeah.
That's why we've teamed up with the Comstock Foundation, was because that's their number one goal. So, and with the Biltmore, our proceeds will go back to the Comstock Foundation.
Now, was the Biltmore on Ghost Adventures?
No, the
It
Biltmore
hasn't
was
been?
not.
Okay.
Nobody famous but us has been there yet. I'm sure after we have our Paracon that they'll come flying. It seems like GAC likes to follow us around.
Well, Schrader is their location scout.
Right, and so is Ellen and Devin on the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure that's
They'll be
going to
there.
happen. So,
Yeah.
But the Biltmore is basically across the street from the Calneva, and the Calneva is famously haunted.
Oh, well, you know what? I think anytime you got gold rush, anytime you got people, I just think that's the most haunted it's going to be. You know what I mean? Gold
Right.
Rush Town, Reno, especially that Virginia City. That's so different than anywhere, and I mean to the people, even to the people that live there. There's a whole different vibe there.
it's a big, different dynamic.
Yeah.
We also do ghost tours the second and fourth Thursday of every month for Gold Hill Hotel.
Oh, that's right. That's what I was going to ask you about.
Right, we do that also for the Comstock Foundation, where it benefits the Comstock Foundation. And when it was presented to us, we're like, well, we don't want to be just the average ghost tour. So we do it a little bit different. And we've sold out almost every single time we've done it. So we're doing something right, obviously, because people are coming back. And we're making the foundation money, and that's huge for us. But it's haunted. I mean, it's not just a ghost tour and historical tour. This place is really, really haunted.
I stayed there twice.
Did you? Which rooms did you stay in?
You know what? I stayed in, I can't remember the numbers. We didn't particularly have a haunted room, but it didn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't
And
matter. It's like,
it has that, it's so well preserved.
it is. And from the outside, you'll look at it and you're like, I'm not staying in that
I
cabin.
know.
Then you get in and you're like, wow, modern stuff and everything. So it's really awesome. And every tour, we have people staying in the rooms, and they'll want us to come in and ghost hunt in their room. So we do little mini ghost hunts.
Wow.
Bring out our equipment, let them play with it. We show them how we ghost hunt. We just have fun with it.
I love that. And I love, you know what? It's funny. That's why I'm kind of glad this podcast is going out, because people that are coming on vacation to Reno need to look you guys up.
Absolutely,
Like,
yeah.
And that gold, I'm trying to remember, because I know we did have some stuff happen there. In fact, I was kind of afraid to leave Courage there in the room alone. You know, I don't like to leave him haunted places because, as my listeners know, my best friend that lives in Florida is an animal communicator, and she's constantly having conversations with him.
Oh.
And the joke in my act about the haunted mirror, he wouldn't sleep in front of the mirror. She called me and was like, he can't, there's a little boy in that mirror. And then two separate mediums came over and they go, you know, there's a little boy in that mirror. And I was like, what?
You know what? We actually have a haunted mirror that we got up at Great Eagle in California, and our animals would walk around it.
Right. They
So
won't
it'd
go
be
by
like,
it.
Even if we put a towel over it, we put a blanket over it, we turned it around. Nope, they would not have anything to do with it.
Yeah, mirrors are fascinating.
It is very fascinating.
I got to do a whole show on mirrors.
Yeah, that would be fun.
We'll have to bring a mirror and show her.
I know, right?
Oh, yeah. Of
I'll
course,
show you yours if you show me mine.
And of course, now at my age, all mirrors are mean. They're all mean.
Mine too, yeah.
So the gold we had in the bottom, I got the strangest photo, and I don't necessarily know that it's a ghost photo because it was more of just there's the bar,
Right.
Okay,
Correct.
and there's the
great room.
the great room, and then there's the dinner room.
Right.
So they're all three kind of in that bottom there, and I'm not talking out of school, but somebody had complained about the bartender, and we met the bartender, and we were like, this cannot be right. It was like some sort of a weird. She started a fight and we go in and meet this woman and nothing. You're like, I can't. She's not even a big woman, a small woman, and you're like, what's going on? That whole bottom there got so creepy, and somebody I was with got so like, and when I say influenced, when people are not in control, like you guys say, you're all about love and light, so I'm sure you don't have any trouble with this. But sometimes people go in and they maybe. They do drugs or they're drinking or something, and their aura is compromised.
Right, absolutely.
And so they get that walk on or something, and he got furious in there. And and then he had to leave. Like he knew to remove himself, which was good. But then the bartender came down the stairs, and we're in the dark. It's all in dark, and she tripped. And it literally looked like somebody had like put a string there, like she went over the string and she fell down.
Wow.
And I got it on a camera. I got the whole fall. It was just a weird photo because it wasn't a ghost photo, but it was like it had her in 4 positions as she hit the ground.
Oh.
And we go, "Are you all right?" And she goes, "Oh, it happens all the time." And then I started to think maybe she's spending too much time there.
Well, I've had a lot of reports. A lot of people have called in or emailed us or texted us about different things that have happened there. You got to remember that great room is probably one of the oldest parts of the hotel.
Right.
It had psychic mediums there. We actually found in the Historical Society a clairvoyant physician. Now, back in the day, in 1800, women couldn't call themselves physicians, but they could be clairvoyant physicians.
Really?
Probably they could tell what was wrong with you, like I
Right,
could tell,
like a medium, like a
mediumship.
There's a what is it called? It's very popular now. Carolyn misses that something and it's all about healing.
Yeah, it's like an intuitive healer.
Yeah.
Exactly. But when we found this, we're like, wow, she did it right there. They did cupping, they did bleeding, they had
Leeches.
they had a barber shop. They had what we found was, doing a blank here, out in the Washoe Valley, Bowers Mansion. Eiley Bowers, who was a seer, the Washoe seer, she did actual lectures there, and I'm sure she had her little peepstone, and she did readings there.
Wow.
So not only did you have a lot of paranormal or sensitive stuff going on there, but you also had deaths right there at the Yellow Jacket. 38 plus men died right there.
Wow.
So they took them back to that hotel and tried to help them, and they died there.
And it's on those crystals, and then it's on stones. Are you sensitive, Jill? Is something in here? Because I have to tell you, and I'm used to it, and I'm not afraid, but you have a blue light over you, and I don't usually see stuff like that, so you've like an angel or something. I always think a blue light is something good, and it keeps catching I caught my ear like 3 times.
Oh, very cool.
And you feel free to speak, nothing's going to scare me, but I had a couple of nights here where I was sure something was waking me up.
So I'm not very sensitive. I hear things, but I do feel something here.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what it is, but I do feel.
She says she's not sensitive. She's pretty sensitive.
Yeah, you just need that confidence.
Yeah, she could hear things.
I could see you looking at it.
Yes.
Yeah, where I could feel the energy. She could hear it.
Wow.
But I don't hear anything right now.
But you know what? 2 things is I know people commit suicide in hotels all the time. So I think they're all haunted. But I also had I think it was the first or second night I was here, there was a lot of
activity.
There was a lot of activity just moving through. And so maybe this room maybe somebody's listening. Maybe we just invited them.
This whole area is pretty haunted.
Yeah.
The downtown area, you got the river right there, which is a conduit. One of the most haunted places that we know of down here is right there on the river. That we did. It's kind of a funny story. Can I tell you about it?
Yes, please. And let me tell. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay, wait a minute. I got to check our time. Oh, yeah. Please tell me the story. Please tell me.
Well, we were called in, and they said that, we would have access to an old hotel here in Reno. There's not a lot of haunting places that were allowed downtown Reno, because
they don't want to scare,
Right, they don't want to scare tourists. So I brought the group, and they said it was a pretty big place, so we brought about 15 people. We had access to the basement and all the floors, which was 4 floors up. It used to be called the Old Senator, the hotel.
I remember that.
Right,
not that I'm that old, but I remember hearing that somewhere.
One of the oldest buildings in Reno. We were called in. We went in, and it was a cool place. Old, or shall we say eccentric. We got to the first floor, and it was like, okay, kind of weird. Got to the second floor, and there was white lines on the carpet. About 5 of us in a room, and the rooms are really super small. We're like, what is that white line? And the lady goes, the bed bugs don't know to get to the other side of the...
What? Baking soda, yeah. Bed bugs won't cross baking soda.
Really?
So we put this across the doorways to keep them in the rooms.
So we're touching these beds, right? At that point, I'm creeped out. I'm totally creeped out.
Total
itching
from head to toe.
Itching from head to toe. It was the first ghost hunt I had brought my, what was she, 13? 13 or 14?
14, I think so.
14-year-old daughter on. She brought her friend. She had her first ghost experience down in the basement. Now, the Historical Society says there's no tunnels in Reno.
That's a lie.
Oh,
It's a lie.
yeah.
There's tons of tunnels, and we have pictures of it down there. Well, after the bed bug stuff, I was pretty creeped out. I called it a night because
You can't do that. You can't bring that home.
Right.
No.
So we lived in a house up in Cold Springs, which is about, 25 miles away from here, 20 miles away from here. We pulled into the garage, closed the garage door. I made everybody strip nude.
Yeah.
In the garage.
Now this is a
and
ghost hunt.
run
Yeah.
into the house.
Yeah.
My daughter's like, this is what we do on ghost hunts.
Her friend's like, what kind of moms do you
What kind
have?
of moms do you have? To this day, my daughter and her friend, who are still friends, and she'll be 21 next week, they're still talking about our ghost hunt.
Oh my God.
Downtown Reno.
Yeah, you had to get those clothes right in the dryer, right? Don't they?
We
now
left
we're
them in the car, in the garage. I was like so scared of the bed bugs because this bed bug thing is an epidemic.
I know, and you know what's funny? And I can tell this story. I'm here at the Silver Legacy, and I found a bug crawling on my bed last time I was here, and I called, and they moved me into the best room. They were so and I got the bug on a piece of tape, and it turned out it was just a bug that was on my hair. When I went and took the dog out, it was like not a bed bug. I was like, they moved me. They were like, if you think there's a bed bug, we're going to take care of you, and it wasn't a bed bug.
As a ghost hunter, you go into these places and you just don't know what you're getting into.
Bed bugs, roaches,
Bed bugs, any of those snakes.
condemned buildings.
Yes.
You got to, yeah.
Spiders.
And so it's pretty creepy, but that was probably one of our funniest.
Oh my God.
Because then I had to call everybody and tell everybody before they got home, guys, don't go into your house.
I know.
Strip nude, run.
If I had $1 for every time I said that. I did not know the baking soda thing, though.
Yeah, well, we couldn't figure out why that it was in a lot of the rooms.
What is it? But I thought they could jump over. What the hell?
I think that's an old.
I think it's an old wives' tale.
Now, new people have owned this building, and they have totally redid the building, and it's a beautiful building now. But it's like, I wouldn't even walk in. I work downtown, and I have to walk by it. I'd walk across the street.
I try not to even think about bed bugs because I'm on
then
the
you
road all the
start
time.
itching,
I
She's
know.
like,
And I think, don't bring them to me. No, you know what I mean? Like, think about money. Don't think about bed bugs. Oh my God! Thank you, you guys. We're gonna get out your website one more time.
It's www.nngh.net. That's for all of our activities. If you want to book for the
Gold Mill?
Gold Mill, it is, or actually for the ghost tours, it is www.goldhillhotel.net. If you want tickets to our Haunted Tahoe Biltmore, it's www.laughingdevel.com.
Great. And they can find you on Facebook and Twitter from your website, and they can get a hold of you there. And man, you ladies are great. Thank you. We have to do this again.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. Why is this the shortest one I have to do?
I know.
Because someone has to go to the bathroom, even though I scratched his butt. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
People are always asking me, Karen, you are so knowledgeable about tarot, ghosts, and otherworldly spirits. How do you stay so organized and grounded here on Earth? And I have to tell them my secret weapon. It's black tourmaline. And Nita over at nitaapple.com. After years of complaining about all the text messages and emails back and forth, trying to schedule tarot readings and chasing after payments, Nita installed Acuity Scheduler on my website, and now I just get a little ding on my phone, and that tells me someone has made an appointment and the money is already in my account. I love that little ding, except every time it goes off, Courage runs to his food bowl. 5 minutes with Nita can save you 5 hours of bumbling around and trying to do things yourself. So if you spend 10 minutes with her, that'll save you like 72 hours or something like that. I don't know, I'm not good with math, but you know who is? Nita. That's who I would ask. Want to end all the emails back and forth and get paid up front when clients schedule time with you? Then hop on over to nitaapple.com/services and let Nita get you set up with a simple system that will make your life so much easier. Use coupon code BOO4U and get 20% off any products or services. She's got a lot of services and products that can save you time and money. That's BOO4U, all lowercase, BOO, the number 4, the letter U, and get 20% off. That's Nita Apple at nitaapple.com/services. NITAAPPLE.com/services, and make your life easier today.